Hey guys, welcome back to NEMT Van Talks. I'm your girl Jazz.
And I'm Monica.
You're supposed to say Mo.
Girl.
I'm your girl Jazz.
Mo.
And we are the owners of an NEMT business based in California. So I just went to an event yesterday and I'm trying to figure out where were my NEMT providers at. Y'all were not in the building.
You didn't see them in the
highly
room?
disappointed.
Are you sure?
There were. I seen Access. I seen Metro. I seen
Maybe
Dollar
you just
Ride.
overlooked them.
No,
They were there, Jasmine.
They were not there, girl.
Why?
I am
In
so
their room?
sad. I am so sad that y'all was not in the room. So y'all probably thinking, what are we talking about? Well, I'll go ahead and insert the flyer right here. We attended Long Beach Transportation Day. So the city of Long Beach is really trying to improve transportation for those individuals that are faced with barriers. One being seniors and one being people with disabilities. And so they put together a fair for transportation companies to come in and share resources that are available within the community. And so MJ Reliable Transportation, where we were a part of that event, and I didn't see you there. I seen some of the major companies there, but there were no small businesses like ours in the building. We were the only ones. So when you ask, how do y'all get these contracts? How are y'all doing it? That's how we doing it.
You have to show up in those spaces.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
You have to.
You know what? And I hear that all the time. Like, people are asking, you're right, how do we get these contracts? It is so important that you show up and be present in these spaces so you can, like, go and bid for these contracts within these different cities. And it's obvious that there is a need, right? If not, they would not be having these different events. So I'm sure you're asking, how do we attend these events? How do I attend these events?
How did we even hear about
Yeah.
it? So we don't do very many trips in Long Beach. However, I don't know if you guys have seen our video where we did wheelchair softball. It's like towards the beginning of us starting our YouTube journey. So definitely go ahead and check that video out. But that organization is a nonprofit, and they linked us to other nonprofit organizations. And so we were actually invited to this event by my dear friend Kim. And she was like, and actually she's on the advisory board for the disabled. And so she was like, we got this event. I want you guys to be there. I want you guys to talk about the services that you guys are offering and how they could benefit the community. So that's exactly what we did. So we set up our table, did everything, and it was a really good event. I made some really good connections. It was nice to really hear some of the challenges that people have within the community. But you know, these events can be found on Eventbrite. These events can be found on Facebook and community groups. I know that your Facebook account probably has a section for events. Look on there. Type in healthcare or anything like that. Use those keywords: healthcare, disabled, transportation. Use keywords. They're all out there. Maybe you want to visit your city's website, see what they have on there. Visit or call up your local senior center and ask them, do they have any events going on? Check the local hospitals in your area, see if they have any events going on. And you definitely just want to make sure that you're a part of those events. So this event that we did yesterday did not cost us a penny. However, there has been events that we have attended where we have to pay like $50 or $60.
It's very inexpensive to
be a part, but it is
worth it, because I'm sure you're asking, okay, what's the benefit of attending these events? What's the benefit of being in this space? Well, that is the perfect opportunity, not only for you to try to pursue contracts, but for you to introduce your business to the community, right? You never know who's in those spaces, and you may be rubbing elbows with, where it may lead to an opportunity for you, right? But just like Jasmine mentioned, those various locations where you could look for events to attend. What if you attend an event at a hospital, right? And they're looking to onboard a transportation provider. They're looking to contract with a transportation provider. That's an opportunity for you. But you won't be able to, you won't have that opportunity if you're not showing up in those spaces, if you're not present at those various events. So that's why we mention in that, and that's why we say it's so important for you to just be in those spaces. And not saying it may happen the first time. You may have to attend, a couple. You may have to do some networking, but it's so good for you to network and introduce your business to the community, talk about your business more, and see what happens. Yeah.
I always say when I go into these events, not thinking of
you
what
go in
I
with the
can
agenda.
gain. Yeah, I go in with the agenda, but I don't go in thinking about what I can gain. I think about the relationships that I could build that could essentially get me to where I need to be so that MJ can grow and thrive, right? So it's really just about making connections. Is what I really love. I got so many people that walked up to the table and they were like, tell me a little bit more about your company. And I was happy to talk about MJ and how we're helping the community. But then I also heard the challenges and the struggles. Like this one girl, she said, she's in a wheelchair. She's been in a wheelchair for a really long time. And she told me that I asked her, how do you get around? And she says, Wave. Well, I think Wave is somehow connected to Uber or Lyft. I think it's Uber.
Yeah, I think it is.
And I asked her, I said, well, tell me about that experience. Tell me about your process of riding with Wave. And she pretty much said, in Long Beach, Wave, the wait to get a wheelchair accessible van is over an hour.
Oh wow.
Versus if she goes to the city of Los Angeles, it could be a little sooner, but she's still gonna wait 30-45 minutes. She did share that she was recently in San Francisco, and in San Francisco it came like that because everybody knows San Francisco, that's the mecca. Transportation is a big thing. Nobody really drives, so there's more vehicles there. But she was just telling me about, for instance, Orange County, how, there's activities she wants to do in Orange County, but in order for her to actually get from Long Beach to Orange County is such a challenge.
Oh, it's a hassle.
Yeah. And those are the stories that I like to hear because I'm always thinking okay,
how you can make a difference.
Right.
How we can improve what we currently have in place. Yeah.
Right.
That's a good observation because that is right. Even though you said it's waves, I've never heard
WAV. I've heard of it.
But even then, even though they have something in place, you can always think, okay, how can we make this better? What steps are they missing? Because it's obvious if she's waiting an hour, they're missing something.
But
there's a process that's missing.
But you know what? If it's and I think it is part of Uber, but that goes back to I think Uber is going to dominate.
Come on. Yeah.
Our wheelchair trips, our industry when it comes to wheelchair trips. And even though she's waiting an hour, I'm not happy that she has to wait an hour to get to where she has to go when someone that can walk and request the Uber only has to wait a couple minutes.
Yes.
It's not fair.
It's not fair.
But that just tells me that Uber does not have enough providers
that can accommodate.
Now, that just simply tells me that we as transportation providers need more funding so that we can reach these people and provide services. Now, there are nonprofit organizations, NEMT companies out there that are supposed to be helping the community.
That have these grants and that are contracted
and they're
to
not
do this.
doing nothing.
Yeah.
They're not doing nothing.
Yep.
So, but yeah, definitely build strong relationships. Access Services was in the building. If you guys don't know who Access is, they are an organization that transports, they mainly focus on the disabled. All of Orange County. I'm sorry. No, not Orange County. All of Los Angeles County, Lancaster, all the way to Long Beach. And I spoke to the gentleman there, and he says they don't have enough wheelchair vans, but they are doing big things. They're doing big numbers, but they're also government funded. So,
do you want to share what he said about the little tip he gave you
About which one?
the vehicles.
Oh, yeah. So y'all know I'm always networking. I'm trying to get opportunities.
She
for all
always
of
trying
us,
to get.
right?
Yes.
I'm telling you.
See, she forgot about that. I got y'all.
So Access Services is really big. They have a bunch of freaking vehicles. Oh my God. So I asked him, like, when you guys are done with these vehicles, what do you do with these vans? And he pretty much told me that they auction the vans off. But he did share that when they auction the vans off, the vans are usually at high mileage, so close to 300,000 miles. So chances are it's gonna be time for the engine, everything to be rebuilt. But hopefully, you know, at the auction you can get these vans for a reasonable price. But he did say that they were still kind of pricey. But
not with 300,000 miles.
Yeah, he said they were still. Yeah. Because you have to think about it, like...
I mean, it's highway miles, so I guess it's a difference in a sense. But still, that's... He didn't give an average of how much did he...
No, he didn't. But
he just said they're still pricey.
He told me to send him an email. He would give me some more information. So as I get that information, I'll definitely share it with you guys on our social media. So if you're not following us on Instagram or TikTok, we be sure to do that. We're under MJ Business Academy. Once again, MJ Business Academy.
So yeah.
And then he also shared with me that they are currently doing a pilot program with transportation networks, so Uber and Lyft, where they are having Uber and Lyft service their ambulatory rides. And he shared that the program is not really working. Doing too good.
Which we know that already.
Yeah.
Because there is a difference, and we say it all the time. And so I am not threatened by Uber and Lyft, and neither should you if you're thinking about starting your business, because they can't do what we do. And as simple as that. So I did record, so let me back up. There was a panel at this event, and on the panel was MTA, it wasn't Dollar Ride, but similar to Dollar Ride, Access, and then Long Beach Transit Authority. So there were a panel of people from each agency, and in the audience were people with disabilities, and they had the opportunity to ask questions to the panelists about accessibility within the city of Long Beach. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys some footage. Definitely check it out. Let me know your thoughts. And next time we want to see you in the room.
We better see you in the room. All right, take a look at this footage.
MJ Reliable Transportation, Access Paratransit, Metro, and our Parks and Rec team. In addition to that, just really quickly, I would like to also introduce the Citizens Advisory Commissioners that are present here today. We have our chair, Kim Vong, who's in the back. Kim, can you give everybody a wave? We've got Vice Chair Steve Adams up here, being my gracious mic stand. We've got Commissioner Julie Dean. Commissioner, raise your hand, please. Thank you. And now, if you have any questions, you can raise your hand. And also, too, how can I forget? Our Commission Secretary, Chaka Garbett, who also serves on the Long Beach Transit. Thank you, Chaka. Sorry about that. How could I ever forget Chaka? Commissioner Adams will be walking around with a microphone, so please raise your hand. And when he comes to you, if you're able, raise your hand. If not, ask someone around you to help get our attention, and we'll get your question. Okay. Does anyone have any questions? John, right there, John Kendrick, right in the front too.
Thank you for being here today. My question is, we know that when we have evacuation or emergencies, people can use their cars. But everybody in this room, we count on public transportation to get us wherever we need to go. And so somehow we've been overlooked when it comes to evacuation. And my question is, what are the different agencies doing to cooperate together to have a plan together best as possible for evacuation. Like right now, if we had an earthquake or anything, people with cars can leave, or a tsunami, they can leave. We can't, especially for the disabled and the seniors. You know, what happens to us? And the people in wheelchairs that need special equipment, there's nothing. We're left to defend for ourselves with whatever we can, but then we end up being dead. You know, it's statistics and saying what we should have done and what we're going to do 10 years from now. So what I'm asking is, why can't we come together and come up with the best plan as possible to save as many people as possible, and not wait until after something happens, then try to save people that could have been saved in the first place. And one more thing. People like me, you talk about climate change. I'm affected by climate change personally. I have 3 conditions. One is called scopic sensitivity syndrome. I have to wear these glasses day and night. And even in here, it hurts my eyes. So when I go out in the sun, imagine what it does to me. I have a condition that's called photosensitivity. I'm sensitive to sunlight for long exposure, and I'm heat intolerant. So there's other people out there that's like me, and children, they can't even express it. Our bus stops are not adequate for people like us. We just had last year, on a global level, the hottest year on record. And the ones we do have, they don't do the job. We need to do a better job if you want us to keep riding public transportation and our children and the others. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Thank you for that. And some of that, of course, we don't have the answer for at this moment, right? But you did give me a lot to go back with, especially the thought about what if there is an emergency, right? What if there is a natural disaster? Because every life matters, and not just those who can get in a car and drive away. You gave me something to think about, something to take back. I know when we work well with the city when it comes to emergencies, but not on that. I don't have anything to give back to you right now on that massive type of emergency. But we do use our buses if we do need to evacuate residents of a community, evacuate students from a school. We utilize our services to help support in those instances. So, but on a massive level, right, I would have to circle back and think about that and discuss that with stakeholders involved, because it would be more than, like you said, it has to be all of us collaborating on what would be done should that happen, right? Affected by climate change, I understand that, and we're working on that with our customer amenities. We're working with different vendors because we do know we need more shade at our bus zones. So we are demoing certain products and certain shade mechanisms to put at our bus zones. Of course, we have to think about what can't get broken, right? What we can keep that sustainable. So we have to think about all those things when we go in. But I can assure you that we are checking with vendors and we're demoing certain shade placements for our bus zones. All right, you're welcome. Sorry.
Thank you. Is there anyone else on the panel that would like to answer that question?
I can't fully answer for the emergency part in case there's a big emergency, but I do know that as being part of LA Metro operators and workers were considered first responders. So if there is a big emergency, like she said, we might be called in to maybe evacuate a school or a building. So, but we are technically first responders. So we would be called in to work even 7 days, 8 days, whatever it has to be to help with the emergency. And we are also testing out different shelters for shade too.
Just to give a brief answer, access drivers go through emergency preparedness training. So our drivers do go through some form of training along with management. We also conduct tabletop exercises for active shooters, major earthquakes, or cyber attack, anything that's related to an emergency, so we go through some training as well. To predict the major disasters is kind of hard. We also work directly with the city, so we go under their directives. So hopefully that answers a portion of your question.
Thank you. Next question. Please keep your questions as concise as possible so everybody in the room can get a chance to ask a question if they need to.
Hi, thank you all for being here. So I am an avid Access customer in Metro and LBT. My question is more so to LBT. I have been on minibuses and I have unfortunately had to pretty much on-the-job training for a lot of your operators who I'll get on and I'll say I want to get tied down, and they will tell me, as I've discussed with you on Metro, oh, I don't know how to do it, oh, I haven't done it in months, or I'm not familiar with the procedure, or oh, can you show me how to, where I need to put it at? And I'm going to do it in the moment, obviously, because I want to be safe, but it's not my job to train your operators. So my question is, how often are they being trained? And do they go back for retraining? And who do I contact for something like that? Because you can't tell us to feel safe on your transportation systems and the training is not there with the operators.
I'm sorry, what was your name?
Candace.
Candace. Okay, thank you, Candace. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing that information. All of our operators should be well aware of how to tie down and provide straps for a customer who utilizes a mobility device. How often do they go through retraining? Probably not as often as they should. Everyone knows across the board we are struggling for operators to operate our services. We're struggling to have those bodies in those seats to assist with our customers who rely on our transit systems. When we are able to have those bodies, we do multiple refreshers throughout the year. Should you have to deal with that? No, absolutely not. The only way that we can be informed about that, if you need to and you feel comfortable calling Shaka and dial a lift, that is who your contact would be. She can provide you with her business card today, but that would be because we need to pull that person in immediately and not wait for any type of refresher training. That is immediate retraining, but we have to know about it. Okay, thank you.
Kansas, I deal with the ADA complaints for Long Beach Transit. So if you have a complaint, and even afterwards, we can talk about that. And we also have video footage that we can pull off the buses as well to address those concerns that you may have regarding the drivers. But they receive training once a year, for sure. And then after that, if they receive a certain amount of complaints, then that's when they go to retraining. Okay.
For Access drivers, they do receive initial training. Initial training could be anywhere of 80 hours plus, depending on the contractor. After they are hired, they get what we call annual continuous training. So they go through sensitivity and defensive driving training every year. That could be anywhere from 4 hours to 8 hours on each category. We just had a special guest speaker attend one of our contractors, DICA, do some sensitivity training for our drivers to give a better perspective of what they might encounter out in the field. On top of that, in case of any incidents, collisions, or any complaints, they get that type of training as well to make sure that we provide safe and reliable transportation to our riders.
I think we're pretty similar. We have their initial training, they get trained. So if they don't get that wheelchair securement training that they would have passed to become an operator. So they get their initial training, and then we also have a yearly training, which ours is called annual refresher training. And every year they get their whole ADA training for a day. I think we discussed it. That's part of, I agree, like if there's an operator that says they don't know how to secure it, or they don't secure it, or refuse to secure it, to call it as a customer complaint. I follow up on those, so I'll make sure that, so if they don't know how, then we'll send them to get training. They won't have to wait for that year mark. Oh.
So to piggyback on that, Candace, please, because if that is happening to you, it's happening to others. And we want everyone to feel safe and secure on our buses. So please get with Chaka when it comes to Long Beach Transit. And I'm sorry, I forgot the gentleman's name at the end. Ruben, you know, should it have to do with Metro? I think we are required by law, by the state. We go through our state mandated annual refresher training, and that is the same across the board here on the panel. Okay, so, and they do get their training initially, but we have to do better.
And I take it very seriously.
Okay, my question is this just for Long Beach? Because I live on the borderline of Long Beach and Compton, and I don't get the service that I feel like I should at my age. So that was my question. Is this just for Long Beach and not?
Access Services service all Los Angeles County. That includes both cities. If you want more information, we have a booth there, Mr. Rand.
I dealt with Access. I don't want to deal with them anymore. This is just for Long Beach, right?
That is correct. It's for Long Beach, Lakewood, Signal Hill, and Paramount, if you're a resident of Long Beach, Signal Hill.
Answer your question? Okay.
Last question.
Oh, thank you very much for that invitation, and I think the services you are providing is fantastic. But on the other hand, I am 90 years old, and it doesn't. I don't look like that. But on the other hand, the first things I hate talking to machines. So when you said go to www.com, I hate it. I don't do that. This is one thing. I assume that there are many people here, I don't know, maybe not, but there are many people that are my age which are behind, or get behind with the internet and all these things, electronics. So they are left behind, they are forgotten. They cannot go to a machine, they cannot answer that. So they cannot get your service either, because they cannot. The other thing is that when I call the phone, I say, okay, call this phone. I call that phone. They say, oh, I'd like to talk to you. Talk to this friend, my assistant, but he or she is not here yet, but talk to this phone. And then I call that phone, and they say, oh, nobody's here, leave a message. And then you wait and wait and wait for that message. And you never receive that answer anymore. So I would appreciate if, for instance, all of you, which the service that you offer is great, but on the other hand, that you should be more accessible for the people. So let's say no many steps. Nobody called this phone, another phone, another phone, and finally the internet. So that's my small suggestion. Please, just make it shorter, make it easier to access those services. And I think those services are great. Thank you.
Thank you for the feedback.
All right, thank you, everybody. The panel portion of our program is over today. I would like to thank our panelists from Long Beach Transit, Long Beach Dial-A-Lift, Access Paratransit, and Metro LA. And I'd like to also finally thank our panel moderator, Deeka McLean, and our commissioners who are here. Thank you all. You still have quite a bit of time to make your way around to each of our tables. In addition to that, I highly encourage you to visit the Disabled Resource Center table as they provide transportation training. Thank you all. Have a great day.